So when you think of a character flaw, what might spring to mind? I've got some examples here. I'm sure you can work out what some of them might mean. So I'll go from top left and downwards. So you might think of dishonesty. You might think of stress and tiredness or laziness. You might think of greed or gluttony, eating too much, lack of self-control, lack of self-discipline. You might think of arrogance and being very judgmental of people. And the last image on the bottom right, you might think of violence and anger. Those are some potential character flaws that you might have in your mind and ones that I thought of, but let's have a look at a more formal definition. So, a character flaw. I've put two definitions up here because it's slightly more ambiguous than it is to define a psychiatric illness. So the definition on the left, as you can see, a flaw in someone's character is an undesirable quality they have. So if we return to the last slide, then that would be something like anger, greed, guilt, etc. And let's break that down even further. What even is character? A character, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is a particular combination of qualities in someone or something that makes them or it different. So fundamentally different is the word there. It's something that differentiates an individual from the norm or normality. And Cambridge Dictionary defines a flaw as a fault, mistake or weakness, essentially, especially one that happens whilst something is being planned or made or that causes something not to happen. So, keywords there, fault, mistake or weakness. And now let's go into another definition of a character flaw. Just for some context, character flaws are used in literary terminology quite a lot in order to sort of set the scene, give your character in a book or a film, etc., some depth and some personality. So, as you can see on the slide here, in fictional works, a character flaw is a bias, limitation, imperfection, problem, personality disorder, vice, phobia, or prejudice. That's a lot of words all at once, I know, but I don't know if you're starting to notice some of the similarities between the definition of character flaw and some of the definitions of psychiatric illness. Something to think about. On to the next part. The flaw can be a problem that directly affects the character's actions and abilities, such as violent temper. So again, we're coming back to that idea of it's not just something to do with their personality, it's something that actually affects the world around them and the people around them and their own behaviours. And the third point, it could be a simple foible. Foible is a word for sort of flaw, I guess, or personality defect, which affects the character's motives or social interactions. So that's important. Motives being their intentions, their plans, and interactions being how they interact with other people and their relationships. The last thing I wanted to add is flaws can add complexity, depth, and humanity to characters in a narrative. So character flaws aren't all necessarily bad things that should be shunned or punished. We all have flaws, no one is flawless, and that is something to bear in mind.